Hey everybody, welcome to a special 5th bonus video, official announcement videos of the Pineys Book 10, 13 Terrifying Piney Tales. So, very exciting for me. I'm really loving this cover, and this is a bit of a departure from the previous books. So, I just want to talk about it a little bit and talk about Jersey folklore, as I often do in my talks. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Here they are. All right. So you see this cover. What it is, it's a thrift store that appears in some of the short stories, and then the items in the thrift store connect to the various stories. So there are 13 stories, just like I have 13 chapters in all the books. And some of them tie into very famous Jersey Devil folk tales. I'll just touch on a few of them. A Little Problem touches upon an old Native American story. The Lenni Lenape have a story in the Pine Barrens of the Wood Dwarf. And so one of the characters from the Pineys has an encounter with one of those. Killer Purse connects into it's not really a folktale, but it is true. Antion, can't say this guy's name. Antion Lebec, or LeBlanc. Antion LeBlanc. God, I really butchered that. Anyhow, he was a Frenchman in the 1800s. He came to this country to work, and this old couple hired him. He killed them. Pretty gruesome. So he killed the husband, and then when the wife came out to see what the hell had happened, he killed her too. And the details of that are very gruesome, because she did, unlike the husband that he killed with one blow, it took several blows to kill her. And then the maid discovered him ransacking the place, and he strangled her too. So he killed 3 people in the span of about, 2 hours, and then took off, and then they caught him and hung him. But the really strange thing is they took his skin, and apparently this was a custom at the time, and they made souvenir purses out of it, because it was kind of a sport. I mean, there's no TV, there's no internet. So when they hung somebody, it was like a big deal. People would come out to see the hanging, and then to get a souvenir. And apparently they would take the skin of the deceased and turn it into a souvenir. So they made souvenir handbags. And they made a death mask of them too, which I think the death mask survives. I don't know if any of the purses survive in real life. The Wrong Bait is a story about the Sandy Hook serpent. That is a folktale. The Ghost That Hit on 17 is I don't want to give it away, but it's got a different narrator, I'll say. And that is about the ghost that supposedly lurks in the Taj Mahal Casino, which is now, I believe, the Hard Rock Casino. So I really love that story. The Boiling Well of Pasadena, of course, is about Pasadena. And, we have West Pasadena in the world of the Pineys, so Pasadena is part of that. The Devil on Line 1 is about Thomas Edison's spirit phone. Return of the Red Lion is about the origins of Red Lion, New Jersey. And that's an interesting origin. Byron the Blob and the Berry Chapel are actually 2 different stories. One's from Weird, New Jersey, about this blob they found out in the Egg Harbor Bay. And then the Berry Chapel is that the cemetery survives, but the chapel itself hasn't survived. But they say you can see the ghost of the building, you can see the ghost of the chapel. So that's in it. The Devil Went Down to Abe's Hat touches upon a story that appears in Legend, Lores, and Lies. It's an old folk tale, written. I shouldn't say written by, but retold by William McMahon. If you haven't read Legend, Lores, and Lies, you should. It's a really interesting book. It's got a lot of old folk tales. So that's just a taste of some of the old folk tales. Some of them are not folk tales. Some of the stuff I just made up, but they feel like folk tales. I'll let you sort through them. But I had a lot of fun writing it. It was a little different for me because they were short stories as opposed to a whole novella. So I'm working on I'm writing book 11 right now for next year. And I'm just about to the end of that, and I'm going back and adding like sort of a subplot. So it's a little different when you're writing short stories versus the novellas. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, so I was able to jam in a lot of different folk tales and urban legends and stuff all in one book. And this is a good book to jump on to the Pineys in the middle, right? You could probably read this book, no problem, because the short stories are self-contained. And even though they tie in together at the end, you get a real sense, I think, of the flavor of it. It's almost like a bunch of tiny versions of the Pineys. And it's fun too that I think, I'm a big fan of South Park and the Simpsons. I used to write for the Simpsons comic, and one of the fun things about that is you can just concentrate on the side characters every once in a while. So this book gave me an opportunity to do that. I was able to concentrate on some of the side characters for once and develop them a little more. Elliot has a story, Cousin Elliot. Wallace and Hugo. I've been dying to tell a bigger story with Wallace and Hugo, and finally this was a chance to do that. Shelley gets a story all her own. Milton basically has a story by himself for the most part, and then the other characters come in. And Lewis has a bit of a story. Well, focuses more on him. And Joyce, Cousin Joyce, and her family get a story. And Byron gets a story. Yeah, I wanted to flesh out Byron a little more too. I keep mentioning Byron, but like sometimes I get halfway through a novella and I go, oh man, I didn't put Byron in again. But yeah, I got so many cousins, and that's part of the difficulty of juggling them around. Like I mentioned some of the cousins in some of the earlier books, and then kind of forgot about them for a few books, and then I was like, oh, I gotta bring back Carl. I gotta mention Carl. I think probably I guess it was book. Oh boy, which book? What must have been book 8. Book 8 was where I was finally able to bring kind of all the cousins onto a hunt together, and they all kind of got at least 2 lines. But some of the stories, like, it's just too many hunters, too many characters, so I kind of gotta clean house a little bit for various reasons. But yeah, this one was fun. They're all fun, really. So I should have books. I can't even order it yet, but let's see. It's going to be Friday tomorrow. I should be able to order them tomorrow. Yeah, I probably won't get them for 2 weeks. So I probably won't have them, and probably won't have physical copies until November. So November signings. But I'll let you know. But I hope you tune in or come by tomorrow night at the Westville Brewery at 7 p.m. from about 7 to 9. It's going to be a hangout. I'll have the books, the other 9 books. And hope to see you there. Well, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for checking out my book. Go to Amazon if you're interested, and you get the ebook for $2.99. The trade is $7.99. And of course, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And we'll see you in the next one.